Another video on the 2016 Dodge Journey 3.6 liter. Check engine light keeps coming on and off, and it's coming up with code P0128, which is saying there's an issue with the thermostat. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the whole cooling system, replace the thermostat with the housing, and then of course go ahead and refill the system. So really quick here, just want to show you. So here's the code it's bringing up, P0128, thermostat rationality. So we'll go ahead and replace the thermostat. So go ahead and pop your hood. Okay, so with your hood popped here, I'm actually doing 3 separate videos all at once on this vehicle. That way the video is not super long. So I'm going to be replacing the oil cooler / filter housing, and then on a separate video I'm going to be doing the spark plugs, and then on a third video I'm going to be replacing the thermostat housing. So bear with me if I leave anything out. Hopefully I get everything covered here. Like I said, I just don't want the video to be, 2 hours long or whatever. So first thing you'll want to do is let's go ahead and remove this engine cover here. This is just plastic, and it just pops right off the engine cover here. So just kind of lift up on it. And if you take a look here, you can see you got these like rubber tabs, and they just snap into these little ball things on there. So get that out of the way. And then if you take a look over here on the passenger side, you can see our upper radiator hose goes into our thermostat housing there. Let me zoom in here. And you can kind of see right on the very end of the thermostat housing there's that pink dot. That's actually dried coolant. It's a common issue on these engines where this plastic housing creates like a little pinhole, and then you get a little coolant leaking out of it, and that's probably what's throwing that check engine light code for the thermostat. So we'll go ahead and replace that whole thermostat housing. The thermostat's already included with it, so you got to buy the whole thing, and that's what we'll go ahead and do. So before we go ahead and start removing the thermostat housing in that, we're going to need to drain the cooling system. I'm going to be draining the whole system. You guys don't have to drain the whole system. You can drain it just enough to get below the thermostat housing so you don't make a mess. But I just find it easier to drain the whole thing, put fresh brand new coolant in it. So just locate your coolant reservoir here, and make sure the vehicle's cool before you do this. But let's go ahead and remove that cap there so it's able to breathe. So just twist it, and then you kind of just push down, and you can pull that off. So next, in order to drain the radiator, we're going to need to remove this plastic cover underneath here, and it's kind of hard for me to fit under here, so I'm going to go ahead and jack it up, put it on some jack stands. Take my jack, I'm going to jack up right under here, and then we'll put some jack stands underneath the pinch welds. And then grab yourself a couple jack stands. You can see I got my other side set up already. We're going to go right underneath the pinch weld here. Then we'll go ahead and lower it. So in order to gain access to the radiator drain petcock, we need to remove this little plastic shield here, which stretches all the way from one wheel to the other side there, and it's just held on by these plastic clips here. So we'll go around and take all these out. I just use this little like trim tool here, and you get up underneath that first part like that, kind of pull out, and then get up under the larger round area. Actually, let's see if I can pull this out a little more. And they'll just kind of pop out like that. Same thing on this one here. Kind of hard getting up under it. So just like that. So you just pull out on that first round part there, and then go underneath the larger area. So go around and remove all those. And then right inside the wheel well here, you'll have one right here. It's pretty much the same style there. Just try to get up underneath the round first part there, if you can, without breaking it. Get up under that, pull that out most of the way, and then you get up under the larger portion. Pops out just like that. And then again, just follow that all the way along the front bumper as well. That's holding this on as well. All right, guys, so as you can see, all these are just breaking on me. Just this plastic, it's so brittle and stuck up in there. So if I have to, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut all these off. And like I said, I'll go ahead and put new ones in. And then you can see some of these aren't even, this thing's kind of broke as it is. You can see down there. So a lot of these aren't even inside there. It looks like this one's just holding that on. All right, so once you finally are done removing all them clips, I should be able to kind of pull this down out of here. And you can see that just drops down like that. And then what you'll want to do, come over to the driver's side here, and you can see that little blue Phillips head plug there. That's going to be your radiator drain petcock. So I'm going to grab a Phillips screwdriver. We'll go ahead and loosen that, get a drip pan, and we'll go ahead and drain the radiator. So get yourself a large drip pan or something to collect the coolant in. And let me go ahead and unscrew this. And I'm not going to pull it out all the way, just kind of let it do a steady stream like that. So go ahead and let that drain. And then you can just kind of watch it. You can see your level will start to drop there. All right, so with our coolant drained and everything, let's go ahead and see if we can remove this upper radiator hose from the thermostat housing there. So I'm just going to try a pair of channel locks here. See if we can latch on here. Open that clip up. And then let's see if we can pull this off. And actually, let me grab forgot I need to grab a pan to stick under there in case that spills out. All right, so I got my pan under there. Let's try this again here. It's kind of hard just the way that clamp's facing and this in the way here. Put your hand up under here. Here, see if I can latch on with these vice grips. That way it locks on. And then let's see if we can. Kind of like that. Let that drip into the pan there. And I'm going to release these to get them out of the way for right now. And then you can kind of just going to get this out of the way for right now. That way we got access to get a wrench underneath here for the bottom part of the thermostat housing. Okay, so you got two 10mm bolts holding this thermostat housing on. So you got one right here, and then just kind of catty-corder down on the bottom, right under here. Of course, I can't get my camera down in there, but you got one right here. So let's go ahead and pull those out. I got a little 1/4" 10mm. And let's see if I can get this bottom one out first here. So if you can get on it right there like that, break it free. Once you get it broken free, should be able to twist it out by hand. Just don't make it easy to get your hands in here. So there's that one. That's what that looks like. And let's go ahead and do this top one here. There's that one. And then you should be able to just kind of pop this off. Yep. So that just comes off there like that. And then you can see this gasket actually stuck on here. Let's pull this gasket off. Just like that. All right guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at our old and new here. So on the old one, like I said earlier, so you can see it's leaking right there. You can see that pink dot. So it's kind of where the plastic molds together, and over time, that starts to create like a little pinhole, and it'll start leaking, causing the check engine light and all that. So, and you can see, so it probably leaks down, and it comes down along here, and it just starts to build up down there. So, but this has a bleeder valve on it, and you can see the thermostats just goes inside it like that. So the replacement one I got is from, I think you pronounce that Mahali. I'm not really sure. But looks like the part number TI23795. I'll put a link in the description for this one. Looks to be same, same quality as OEM, even says on there. And got your bleeder valve and everything. Same temperature thermostat and all that on there. So, and again, there's what that looks like. So it's kind of the same thing where it just kind of molds together there. And actually this looks like an OEM one, because you can see it says BEHF or BETHR or something like that. But so yeah, it looks like this is the actually original OEM one. So like I said, I'll put a link in the description for this. So let's go ahead and stick this on. Okay, so I went ahead and just took a rag and wiped up that gasket mating surface there. So go ahead and grab your new thermostat housing here, and you can see that comes with the gasket already in place there. So go ahead and stick that in there. Just go ahead and get top one started here, kinda. Along with your bottom one. Get your hand down in here. So get those two started. And if you can, just kind of tighten them up by hand here. Get them kind of snug or finger tight. And then go ahead and grab your torque wrench. I think I'll be able to torque this top one for sure. That's going to be 106 inch-pounds. Or if you want to do 12 Newton meters, you can do that as well. Same thing. Let's get that on there. Let's see. Might be able to get it in here. Let's try this one. Alright guys, so yeah, there ain't no way I'm gonna get it in on that bottom one there. So just gonna go off a feel there, just kind of get it snug. So like I said, just go off of what you feel is 106 inch-pounds, which really isn't much at all. I'm gonna say probably about like that. So then go ahead and get your upper radiator hose back under here, kind of in place there. Get that started on there. Grab your channel locks here. Get that squeezed together. Hold that with one hand. Push the other end on there, all the way up. Try and move this clamp into place here. And actually, let me grab a screwdriver to help pry that. I'm gonna use this flathead to kind of pry this clamp up over here. There we go. So like I said, try to get it kind of lined up to where it was. So I'm gonna say probably about right there. And you can see I'm a little off there. So let's just move it over. So I'm gonna say that looks pretty good right there. Just come out a little bit. So yeah, just like that. Just make sure that's on there good. So now you can go ahead and crawl back underneath the driver's side here. Grab your Phillips. Let's go ahead and tighten up this radiator drain valve. Make sure that's nice and snug. Don't over tighten it though, because it'll strip out. So get it nice and snug to where it's not leaking. And then you can just kind of wipe up this excess coolant that's spilled. Next, grab your skid plate, the one I had to break all the clips off pretty much to get it off. I do have some replacement ones that I'm going to try sticking on here. So go ahead and get this in place. And this slides kind of in there. Like that. I'll get that other side here in a minute. So then just go around getting all these clips back into place. Of course, this is one of my new ones here. So kind of like that. I'm not going to record all these. I'm just going to go around, get them all in place really quick here. All right, guys. So as you can see, got all those back in. There's a couple that were broke because this, like I said earlier, was broken. But I got all those in. And then also don't forget these, there's those 3 right here. So don't forget to get those clips in as well. So let's go ahead and grab our jack now, and we'll go ahead and get this lowered off the jack stands. All right, so now we should be able to go ahead and start filling here. I'll just show you here. So here's what we collected. And you can see it goes in quarts. So there's 10. So if I tilt this towards me a little bit here, you can see the 5 quart mark right there. So it looks like it's just a little bit over 5 quarts is what we pulled out of here. Of course, some did go on the floor, which I wiped up. But the coolant I'm going to be using, the Mopar. I got this stuff off of Amazon. This is actually, I got 2 gallons of this from a previous project on a 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee that I worked on. This was extra. And this is already mixed. You can see I already labeled it on here, but this was the concentrate, and I mixed it 50-50 with distilled water. So I got 2 gallons of that, so 8 quarts. And for this, you want to use, it even says on here, well, here's the part number for it. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description from Amazon. But this is the OAT coolant. You want to make sure you use the OAT in this right there, which stands for Organic Additive Technology. So let's go ahead and start filling. And then before we start filling, let's go ahead and pull that bleeder valve there on top of the thermostat housing. So you can just take a large flathead or Phillips. Go ahead and unscrew this. You can just kind of pull that out of there. And we'll go ahead and watch for coolant to come out of that. So I'm actually going to grab a couple rags that I'll set around that as well, just so it doesn't make a mess, because we did kind of make a mess earlier when we pulled this off of here. So it's kind of like that to soak up some of the coolant there once it starts coming out of that hole. All right, guys, so I must not have hit the record button. Sorry about that. But I went ahead and filled 1 whole gallon, so 4 quarts, into the reservoir here. And as soon as I did that, right after the 4 quarts was in there, it started gushing out of the bleeder hole here. So once that started gushing out, I knew there wasn't any air. I went ahead and stuck that screw back in there and tightened it up. So now let's go ahead and fill it up a little more here to where we can get to our cold fill range. All right, so I got record this time. All right, so I'm gonna take my 2nd gallon of coolant here, and so you can see the cold fill line is gonna be right here. So if we go a little above that, it's fine, because it still needs to run through the system once the thermostat opens up. So let me go ahead and add a little more coolant here. So about right there, we're at the cold full line there. So I'm just gonna go a little bit above that. Kind of like that. And let's just see if this squeeze the upper radiator hose, if it does anything. Not really, since we already bled it out. So I'm gonna kind of just leave it like that for now. We're gonna have to add more once the thermostat opens up. So now we should be ready to start it. I'm just gonna leave the coolant reservoir cap off for right now, and we'll go ahead and let it get up to operating temperature and everything, and then we'll go ahead and replace that cap. Like I said, we're probably gonna have to add some once the thermostat opens up, and we also let it cool overnight, and we'll top it off in the morning there. And now let's go ahead and start it. So it looks like we're good there. And then you can see our coolant temp down there. Of course, that's in the cold. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this idle here for a while. And then also figure out how to turn on the air, or the heater here. So turn your heater on all the way hot, both sides. Let that run so it gets circulated through the heater core. So let's go ahead and let this run for a little bit here. If I can't get it up to temp here because it's kind of cold out, I'll go ahead and take it for a little drive here. All right, guys, so I went ahead and let this idle for a while here while I cleaned up, and you can see our temperatures now at normal operating temperature, and I actually heard our fans kick on as well, so it's definitely up to temp. Also got hot air coming out of the vents as well, so let me turn that off. So definitely the thermostat opened up and it's flowing through the heater core, so we should be good. So let me go ahead and shut this off. And then you can see, so it climbed a little bit above the cold range there. You can see it kind of bubbling. But what I'm gonna do, we can go ahead and put our cap back on for sure. So go ahead and stick that back on. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll go ahead and let this sit overnight. Most likely that level's gonna drop a little bit at least, just because coolant expands with heat. So once that drops in the morning, I'll go ahead and just top that off, whatever it needs to get up to the cold full line here. And then don't forget to put your engine cover back on here. Again, you got these rubber little clips here that snap on to these little round areas here. So make sure you get those lined up, and then these two right there. So you can kind of hear them click. So just like that. Okay, so that's it for the video. Again, this was a 2016 Dodge Journey 3.6 liter. Went ahead and replaced the thermostat and thermostat housing, and then of course drained the cooling system and refilled. And this should take care of that P0128 code because of the leaking thermostat housing. And you guys will get by with just buying 1 gallon of the concentrate coolant, the Mopar. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description for that. And then a gallon of distilled water, so that way you got 2 gallons. And that'll be plenty if you decide to take out all the coolant. So hopefully this video helps you out. If it does, why don't you subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos. Got a bunch on this car alone, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.